Hey there, nice to see you back, and today we are going to create this image slider. So whenever we click on this button, it slides, and whenever it reaches to the end, it comes to the starting, and whenever it comes to the starting and if we click this previous button, it comes to the end. So this is what we are going to create today, and before writing any code, I want to tell you the approach that we are gonna use for this project. So let's jump into it. Now let's talk about the approach that we are going to follow. So first, when we'll add the images, they would be one below the other, just like this one, and they would be wrapped in a parent element. So this greenish border div is the parent div or the parent element of these four images. So this would be the situation when we just add the images. Now what we have to do is we have to change this to this. So this is like if I increase the width of this, so here we go, we have this. So we have to align these images in horizontal direction. This is what we have to do, and why we are doing so is we'll have the buttons over here. The first one would be here and the second one would be here. So whenever we click on the buttons, we want this, let me increase the width again. So we want to shift all these images. So if we click the next button once, then we want to shift it like this and we want to give it this position. Now if we click it again, we want to give it this position. If we click the previous button, we want to give it this position. Okay, and we do not want to show anything outside this green border. Okay, so this will be the parent element and we will not show anything outside this box. Okay, but we'll have to shift all these four images. Okay, so not like this. We'll have to grab all the images and then we'll have to shift it the amount we want. Okay, so how can we do that? So to do that, what we can do is we can create div, and that div would wrap all these images like this. So this will be our div, and let me do it like this, and then add some border over here. So the fill would be the transparency would be 0, but the stroke would be, let's say, let me increase it a bit. I cannot see that. Saying this okay, let me grab this rectangle. No, not okay, this one, or maybe this one. Okay, this one, and then okay, I got that. So I'll have to change this outside too. Okay, here we go. So we have this border over here. Okay, so what we want to do is, this is our this would be our main container. This green border would be our main container, and we do not want to overflow anything outside that. Okay, so anything outside this div would not be shown, but whenever we click the buttons, what we want to do is we want to shift this whole div, this black div. Okay, so we want to shift this whole div, that would be the parent element of all these images, and I'll shift it the amount I want. Okay, so this is what we have to do. So now let's jump to some actual code and see some code in action. Alright, so we have an empty folder with just these images over here. So now let's start by creating an index.html, and inside that I'll add the boilerplate of HTML. The title would be image slider using pure vanilla JS, and then I'll create two files. The first one would be style.css, and after that main.js for JavaScript. Now I'll link these two files in my HTML with link, and then link style.css, and then script src main.js like this. And now here I'll add the images. So I'll say image times 4 like this, and the src would be 1.png, and then it would be 2.png, then it would be 3.png, and at last 4.png like this. And we have some ugly indentation here, so let me fix that like this. What the heck? And here we go. Okay, so Pretty nice. Like this. Now, okay. So what next? We'll have to wrap this in our container. So I'll say image wrapper like this. But this is the image, this is the div that will wrap all the images. This is the long black border div that will shift. Okay, so whenever we click the button, this div is going to shift, and when this will shift, these images will also shift automatically. Okay, so this is the div. But we also want a div that will wrap this wrapper, and that would be container, and this container would be the container that will not that will hide anything that is outside this div. Okay, so let me open it with live server, and I have just written HTML, so I'll get these HTML. Now I'll come to my CSS, and then I'll add the before and after like this, and then padding 0, margin 0, box sizing border box. So you must add these stylings before writing anything in CSS, because they are not mandatory but kind of mandatory. Okay, now to body, I'll give min height of 100 vh 100, width of 100%, display flex, justify content center, align item center, to align everything in the middle, but no changes yet. Is my CSS working? Yes, it is. So because this is overflowing, so we'll not see any change. But now to the container, I'll say I want the height to be 70 vh and the width would be 70 vw, that is viewport width. And here we go, we have that. So let me add the border here. So I'll say border 10 pixels solid red, and we have this container. So this is our container. Now I want the images in horizontal direction. Okay, so these images are wrapped inside this image wrapper. So I'll grab this image wrapper, I'll say dot image wrapper, and I'll say display flex, and this will do the job. Display flex aligns each and every child element in a horizontal direction, as it does here. Okay, and now I want I do not want to overflow anything outside this container. So to a container, I'll say overflow hidden, and this will hide anything outside this container. But you can see that in one frame we have more than one image. So I'll say dot, I'll say not dot, I'll just say image, and I'll say width 100%, and probably that should do the job. Okay, that does not do anything. I'll say height 100%. That does not work either. So the problem is, let's open console and see. Let's inspect this element, and that has a height of 100%. Good. Width of 100%. That does not do the job either. So what can be the problem? I'm stretching it to height and width of 100%. Okay, so I got that. Okay, so I've given width, if I write width of 100%, so it will get the width of 100%, but this image wrapper has a display of flex, and if I write width 100%, give width 100% to this. Okay, no, this is not what I was thinking. So to image wrapper, okay, I've given display flex, and I've given width 100% as well. So it should have got the width of 100%, but let's go to this image wrapper. We have given the width of 100%, that is being applied to, no problem. And if we change this width 100% to 400%, boom, here we go. Yes, I know the picture quality is very bad, but that's not a big deal. Okay, so what happened here, let me explain. But before that, I'll just remove this overflow hidden so that we can see everything. Okay, so we have this image, and we have given width 400% to our parent element, to this image wrapper, and that has got a width of 400%. Now if we write display flex, and then if we give width 100% to our image, then it will try to give equal width to each and every child element of itself. Okay, so this is image wrapper, we have given display flex to this, so it will try to give equal width to each and every child element. So we have 4 child element and it is giving equal width to each and every child element. So the one like we have given width of 400%, so it has got the width of 400%, no problem. Let me zoom out. Okay, so it has got the width of 400%, and now what's going on, it has got width of 100%. Okay, so this image wrapper will try to give the equal width to each and every child element. So it has given equal width, but since the width of this is 400%, so it will try to give 100%, 100%, 100% and 100%. So that will do the job. Hope you understand. Okay, so now let's again grab this overflow hidden like this, and now I'll add the buttons. So inside the container I'll say maybe slider buttons, and then I'll say button times 2, and they will have a class of slide btn. The first one would have hashtag priv and the second one will have hashtag next, like this, and we get a button, empty buttons. So I'll add icons over here. So for icon I'll go to fontawesome.com, and to use that I'll have to add the CDN. So for CDN I'll go to cdnjs.com and I'll search for font awesome, and whenever I type fast, this I cannot write font awesome completely. Okay, so that removes the letter, I don't know why. So I'll have to type slow. Here we go, we copy the URL, we link it, the font awesome CDN link, and then I'll link it like this, and then I'll go to font awesome, and then I'll search for arrow, and let's wait for the result. Here we go, we have the result. I want the arrow left and arrow right, I want that in circle, so arrow circle left. This is the one that I need. I've clicked on it and it is saying supersizing your fries. Let's click on this and that will copy. Let's add this here and then again this here, but instead of left I want to add right, like this. We have our beautiful buttons, and now I have to style those as well. So I'll say dot slider buttons, and I'll say width of 100%, display of flex, justify content space between, and I'm writing this because I want them to be in a horizontal direction, and justify content space between because I want to send them to the extreme positions, and then align items, we do not need it here. Okay, so we have the first one at this end and the second one at this end. Okay, now I'll give position absolute to this, and then I'll say top 50%, and then I'll transform it in y direction to negative 50%. Okay, so first it got top 50% from top, and then but here's what the problem is. So if we give top 50%, then the top of this button gets 50%, but I do not want that. I want the center of this button to get a height of a top of 50%. So I do this, and now we cannot see the next button, and we have this next button over here, and this is because we have given position absolute, and if we give position absolute to any element, then the parent element of this slider button now would be the body. Okay, so if we have given position relative or anything like any position other than static to its parent element, then that would be the parent. But if we have not given any position to the parent element of this slider button, then the parent element now would be the body itself. So now let's make this container the parent element of this slider buttons, and in order to do so we'll say position, and then we'll change from static. We do not want to keep it static. Okay, so we'll change it to, let's say, relative at this case, and here we go, we have the buttons. But you know what, I'll say width 80%, I'll change, or maybe 90%, and then from left I'll also add from left, and that would be 5%. Okay, so from left it is 5%, then the width is 90%, then 5%. Okay, so it is all 100%, and it is in the very middle, like this. Now let's style the buttons as well. So I'll say dot slide button. I guess this was the class that I gave. Yes, slide button, and then I'll say background transparent. I'll also say border none, and then outline none as well. I also want to add cursor of pointer, and the last thing, I'll change the color to orange. I also want to increase the font size as well. Font size maybe 1.5 rem. Let's see. Okay, nice. Now the main JavaScript part. So let me remove this foolish border. And now whenever we click on the buttons, we want to shift this image wrapper. Okay, so I'll go on to my main.js and let me zoom it a bit here. Then I'll say const image wrapper equals document dot query selector, and then I'll say image wrapper, and then I'll again add the previous button. So I'll say const priv button equals document dot query selector hashtag priv. I gave an ID of priv to my previous button, and then an ID of next to my next button. So I'll say const next button equals document dot query selector, like this, hashtag next. And now whenever we click on any of the buttons, like if we click on next button first, next button dot add event listener click, what I want to do is I want to, like, I'll say image wrapper dot style dot transform, and then I'll translate in x direction, but in negative x direction, not here, in a negative x direction. Now I'm using template literals, and I'll say, like, if I say 50 pixels, let me add pixels here, not here. Okay, and I also will add transition to my image wrapper so that it is smooth. So I'll say transition, and the property would be just transform, and I'll say maybe 350 milliseconds is enough. Okay, so whenever we click on next button, it will be translated 50 pixels in x direction, negative of 50 pixels. Now, but the amount that we want to translate is like the width of this image. Okay, so we want the width of this image. So I'll again come in here and say const image equals document dot query selector all image. So we get the image, and then I will take 0 because we have 4 images. So whenever we say query selector all, we get an array of this, and then we are getting the 0th index or the first element. Okay, so we get this, and then I'll say const, not like this, const image width equals image dot client width, like this, and this will give the width of our image. Let's log this to console. And here we go. We have the amount of pixels or the width of the first image. Okay, so I'll remove this, and instead of this 50, I'll say image width, and whenever we click on this, boom. Okay, but our arrows are now gone. It is not visible. So the first time I also messed up with this, and then I found that these buttons are being hidden by the second image. Okay, so these arrows are coming below that second image. Okay, so we'll have to increase the z index, and let's set it to 2, and here we go, we have the images. But now the next problem is, whenever we click on the first button or this next button, it translates in x direction, in negative x direction once, but when we click it again, it does not do. Okay, this is because let me use comment say. So this is because first time we do that, so it says translate x and then negative of maybe 1075 pixels. Okay, so this is what it is translating. But the next time we do, like the next time we click on the button, it is again doing the same thing. Okay, so the difference between this and this is just 0, so it is not going to perform its job. So what we'll have to do is, this time it has translated this much, but the next time I want to multiply it by 2 and then use this. Okay, because we have to now translate 2 images, so we'll say 2 times this much. Okay, so if you did not understand it this way, let me try the another way. See, we have this image. Whenever we click this, one image is translated. Let me remove this overflow hidden once again. where we have, okay, here we go. Okay, so this is the default condition. Whenever I click this, okay, so this is the situation. We have this image, we have the first image here and the second image here. If we click it again, the same thing happens because this amount is translated. Okay, so if we click on this, the image is gone. But if we click again, now this image should also be in the left of the container. Okay, so for that I have to multiply it by 2. Okay, so first 1075 pixels, then next time 1075 plus the width of this image, and this image would have a width of 1075 as well because the width of each and every image is exactly the same. So the first one is 1075. So now the next one would be 1075 plus 175, and that would be twice 1075. And then the next time it would be 1075 plus 1075 plus 1075. Okay, so it is like that. But how do we get at which stage we are? So for that we'll say let, not in capital, let index equals 0 or maybe 1. Okay, and then I'll multiply it by index. So I'll say index times image width, and then I'll increment the index once like this. So first of all it is 1, then whenever we click it, then 1 times image width, that is exactly the same. But then we are incrementing the image, so now it would be 2, and then when we click the arrow twice, then it would be 2 times image width. If we click it thrice, then it would be 3 times image width, and that should perform job. Let's see. Once, twice, thrice, and then it continues like this. Okay, and yes, it would continue because we are not setting like a condition that after this image you do not have to go anywhere. Okay, so we'll say whenever you have reached this much, like whenever you have reached this one, you do not have to just go beyond that. Okay, so the first time, like when this image is at the screen, is in the container, then the index is 1, now index is 2, then index is 3, then index is 4. Let me log this to console. Let's log index by here. Okay, so let me open the console, and whenever we click this, we get this 1. Whenever we click this, we get 2, 3, and then 4. Okay, so whenever we reach 4, we do not want to perform this job. Okay, so we'll write a condition that here, like if index triple equals 4, or maybe not triple equals, does not equal 4, then only perform this job. Okay, but consider if the index is 4, then what you have to do is you have to like say index equals 0. Okay, so whenever it is like after this, it will go on to 0. Okay, so now when I click next button this time, nothing happens. Okay, so I think that is because, okay, I got that. Let me go a few steps back. Okay, here we go. We had this. Okay, so when do we want to like add the condition? Whenever the index is 4. Now the index is 4. Okay, so till then it is fine. But if we click this button again, then the index would be 5. Okay, so whenever the index is 4, then we do not want to like do anything whenever we click on this. Okay, so at this point it is 2, at this point it is 3, at this point it is 4. Then after 4, whenever we click on the arrow button after 4, we do not want to do anything. So okay, so let's go with if index is less than or equal to 4. Okay, so if it is till 4, or maybe just is less than, if index is less than 4, we want to increment it. But if it even comes to 4, okay, so we are doing this just because like whenever it is less than 4, it would be like, let's say 3. Okay, so when it is 3, we want to do this function. Okay, so like let's say 3, then the index would be 3, then it would be 3 is less than 4, it will return true, and then it will go inside this block and this will be implemented. Now the index is 4. Okay, so now when the index is 4, we do not want to do this functionality because we do not have any image after that. Okay, so whenever the index becomes 4, what we want to do is I'll say index equals 0. Okay, so I'll again say that, okay, so set the index to 0 or maybe 1 and then do the same thing. Okay, so like this, when the index is 1, do the same thing. Or you know what? Okay, no, it's fine. It is 2, 3, 4. Okay, so now it is 4. Now it will not come through this block because it is now 4. It is not less than 4. It is exactly 4. So it will come to this block. It will say index 1 and then it will slide it. Here we go. So we get to the first image once again. Oh, sorry. We did not get to the first image. We get to the second image. And why so? Let me try to fix it. Okay, so we are setting index to 1. Okay, so when we are setting index to 1, then we are doing image wrapper.style.transform, this one. Okay, so okay, so that should be image width. Okay, I got that. Whenever we are setting this, then we are saying that, hey, image wrapper, you have to translate this to this one. That means 1 times image width. Okay, so that is being translated. So if we click on this, so that is being translated this amount of time. But initial stage, I do not want to translate it. I want to translate it to 0 pixels. Okay, so I'll say index equals 0. So that would not translate it, and that should do our job. Let's see. Here we go. We have that. We get to 0. Okay, nice. But I also want to increment it at the last, so I'll have to increment it like this. Now let's see. Okay, so once it becomes 0, we translate it and then we set it to 1. Okay, so now the loop continues. It is 1, 2, 3, 4, 0, then 1. Okay, so it is 0, translating it to 0, then 1. Or maybe we can do like index 1 and then we can just say translate 0 pixels like this, and that should do the job as well. Here we go. So that was some extra line of code that we could omit. Okay, so we have said that translate to 0 pixels and then set index to 1, and we have it, the loop. But now we'll have to add for the previous button. Okay, so the logic would be quite the same. Previous button dot add event listener click, and then whenever we click, we want that not like this. We want to add, okay, like this, a condition that if the index is greater than 0, or maybe greater than 0. If the index is greater than 0, that means if it is 1, then only you have to perform the job. If you did not understand, then let's omit this. We'll come again in quite a bit. I'll just say like, I'll copy this, paste it here, but instead of incrementing, I'll decrement it. Okay, so let's go here, and then if we click this, okay. So this is the problem. We'll have to first decrement it and then do that. Okay, so this time it is 1, now it is 2, and then whenever we click this, it will decrement it and then it will say 1, and that does not do the job either. Okay, so if I try to like explain you why this is happening, the index is 1. Let me log the index here, and then here as well. I'll say log index, and then open the console. I'll clear the console, I'll zoom it, and then click on the next button. The index becomes 2. Why so? The index should be okay. The index is 1. The index is 1 at this time. So whenever we click on this, it translates this to like 1 times this, and then it increments it. Now the index is 2, and then if we click it again, the index is 3. But now if we click this button, then the index becomes 2, and this is the position we have. Like, let me again uncomment this overflow hidden. Okay, so whenever we click this, we have the index 2 right now, but the image is translated only once. Okay, so only one times this. The image is translated only one times this, but the index is 2. The reason why index is 2 is because if we click it again, then it will take that 2 and then it will multiply it, then it will say 2 times that, and then it will set the index to 3. So that's a bit of confusion over here. So first it is 1, then it is incrementing it, and then it is and then it is saying and then we are incrementing the index. But here in this, what we are doing is we are first decrementing it and then we are doing this. Okay, so I think this should be the approach here as well. First we'll increment it and then do anything else. Okay, so let me set it to 0. I know I'm messing around a bit, but this is what coding is. Okay, so index is 0. The first time we click, we are incrementing it to 1, and then we are doing 1 times image width. If we click it again, then the index increments to 2, and then we are saying index times 2. Okay, so we are first incrementing the index and then setting it, because we have started from 0. So first when we click, we do not want to increment our, we do not want to like set it to 0 times the image width, because it would be 0. The first time I click, I want to set it to 1 and then do the job. And here we have the same thing. Okay, so let's see what we get here. We have 1, 2, noise. Very good. Okay, Control R. Okay, so we have this. Okay, so first if we click here, we get the index to 1. Again if we click, we get the index to 2. If we again click it, we get the index to 3. Now we have the index 3. Whenever we click this, see what I'm doing here. I'm decrementing the index to 2. Okay, so it will be 2 and then the job is done. Okay, so half the job is done. The next thing is okay, so whenever let me show you what I want to tell you. If we click to this previous button, nothing happens. But whenever we click on this previous button, I want to send this to the last. Okay, like we do here. I think you saw this. Like, let me click it multiple times. We click this multiple times, and then let's see what we have in the index. Nothing, because we have removed this. So let me log the index here. Okay, so now let me show you. Let me click this multiple times, and the index goes to -10. And if we click it again, we get -9, -8, -7, -6, -5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0, and then 1. Okay, so we do not want that, so we'll write a condition here, like if index is greater than 0, then only you have to do this. But if index becomes 0, then you know what, set this index to image, let's use I want the image length, so I'll say remove this from here and I'll say it here. Okay, so we are getting the array of images and then we are taking the first one, grabbing the first one. Okay, now I'll say index should be image.length -1. Okay, so image.length is the length and then -1, because index starts from 0. So now let's open the console and let's clear this, and then okay, so whenever we click this, nothing happens. So here we get something odd. So the first time index is 0, but if the index is 0, we want to set it to this position, and then we want to do the same thing like this. Here we go, and we have that. Okay, so I just did not add this line, so that was not working. Okay, so whenever we click this, we get that, and nice. We have the next arrow, we have the previous arrow working just fine. Let me add this overflow hidden as well. And now we could add, okay, what the hell? We have something wrong going on in here. Yes, I got that. we have that just because we are setting like index to we are thinking this to be index 4, but now index would never be 4, like because it is starting from 0, so we have to check it to 3. Okay, so we will set if index is less than 3. Okay, so because it is starting from 0 and the count of images, it is 4. Okay, so we will have to work according to that. And then absolutely fine. I think not, because what the hell is going on? Okay, I got that again. I really got messed up. I have to set this index to 0 now. Okay, because this is the initial stage. And great. Okay, so we have everything going on properly. And the last thing that we are left up with is the navigation at the bottom in here. Okay, so we can add that, but I'm thinking that let's create a video of part 2 where I'll show you how to add that navigation in this image slider. If you're excited, comment down below, like the video, hit that subscribe button, and don't forget to press that bell icon to get the instant notification of our latest videos. And yes, thank you for watching, guys. I'll see you in the next one.